Hey, this is Troy Stavros with Doorbell Real Estate, and today I want to go over all of the data from September, now that we've gotten all that data in, and just kind of take a look and see where we are at in the housing market in the East Tennessee and Knoxville area now that we are in the beginning of October. See if prices are going up, if prices are going down, if prices are staying steady, what's happening with inventory, and all the things that are important to you if you are looking to buy or sell a home in East Tennessee. Let's jump in to the data. Okay, this first slide is showing us all of East Tennessee. So that is basically everything within our MLS in East Tennessee, and we're going to compare it first from a year ago, so year-to-date numbers, and then we're going to kind of take a look and see where it compares to last month, because with the way the current market is going, year-over-year numbers are good, but to really get an idea of what is happening right now in the market and how it is changing, we need to look month over month and see how it's changing every month. So the first slide on the left shows the September numbers for year over year. Home sales are down 3.6% compared to a year ago. Pending sales are down 6.7%. Inventory of homes is up 1.7% in East Tennessee. New listings are up 4.4%. The median sales price is up 19.85% compared to a year ago. And that is coming in right at $320,000 for the median sales price, and the absorption rate, which is the amount of inventory that is available for sale, basically is about the same as it was last month. It's at 2.07 months worth. Last month we were at 2.06, so it's basically holding steady. We're not even getting into a healthy market until we get over 4 months worth of inventory. So we are still in all of East Tennessee significantly low as far as inventory goes. When we look at the numbers compared to last month, the numbers that are really important to look at obviously are absorption rate, which we've looked at already, which we've basically stayed pretty steady as far as the amount of inventory out there available. But then the other thing that is super important to look at is the median sales price and what has happened there. So we have been seeing it trending down a little bit year over year, which is to be expected. But the other number we want to keep a close eye on is the actual median sales price dollar amount. So you can see that compared to last month, it stayed exactly the same. So up until now, that price has been rising every month. Now, over the last few months, it has stayed exactly the same, $320,000 in all of East Tennessee. So that's telling you that the prices are moderating. And we're going to see as we look at some of the other areas that might actually be slipping back a little bit. But we'll take a look at that in a minute. I want to show you some live data here and show you some other things that we need to look at on a month-to-month basis just to kind of keep an eye on what is happening. Okay, this chart here is the active data for all of East Tennessee single-family homes. So if we look here, the numbers that we want to look at that are important are the listing prices and to see what listing prices are doing over time. So we want to keep an eye on what's happening down here at the end, because this is August and September, what has happened over the last few months. You can see that it was trending up, up, up. We got until about April. Kept going up in May, then kind of worked its way down, has been kind of holding steady as far as, and the black line is sold median sales price. So it's been kind of holding steady. It's gone from 332 down to 326, 323, back up to 325, 323. So it's basically holding steady. So prices aren't necessarily going up. They aren't going down. They're just kind of bouncing right around that same area. So there's not much happening there. When we look at the active, new and active median list prices, okay, well, what are list prices doing? We see here also that they held pretty steady here for a bunch of months in a row. Then they came down last month and then bumped up again this past month. And then as far as active median, that means all the gold line was new, but the red line is all active median list prices. So it's kind of trended up very, very slowly. So prices in all of East Tennessee are just kind of holding steady right now. So that's kind of where we are at as far as East Tennessee as a whole. Now let's take a look at Knoxville specifically. So the Knoxville, Tennessee market is any address that has a Knoxville, Tennessee address. So add the street number, and then it says Knoxville, Tennessee, then the zip code. So year over year, home sales are down 11.2%. Pending sales are down 11.1%. Inventory of homes is down 7% compared to a year ago. So while we're seeing a lot of information on the national news saying that there's tons of new inventory and it's way over what it was last year, that's just not true here in Knoxville. We're actually 7% below where we were as far as inventory numbers last year. New listings are down 3%. And then when we look at the absorption rate, it is ticked up a little bit. It went from 1 month 0.23 to 1.28. Still super low. That's not even 2 months worth of inventory. A healthy market is over 4 months. So we are struggling for inventory in the Knoxville market. When we look at the median sales price, it is up 19.3% compared to last year, and came in at $340,000. Now, here's the interesting stat, because this is the first time this has happened in a long time. Compared to last month's inventory, or last month's median sales price came in at $340,128. This month it came in at $340,000. So it's actually gone down a hair. So that's the first time that's happened probably in the last 2 years that number has gone down. So that is the number that we're just going to need to keep an eye on, just to kind of make sure where it goes, so we can get a good idea of what we are looking at on a month-to-month basis. Okay, let's go back over to the active data and see what is happening. We're just going to change our market summary over to the Knoxville area. So we're going to look through September like we were doing before. I'm going to load up that data. And we are going to see, okay, so here's these numbers. Let's zoom in and take a look at the list prices here. List prices here, very much like East Tennessee, are just kind of holding steady. They rose up through May, up through April, May, and then June. They kind of started leveling off, and they've just kind of been bouncing down and then back up and then down. So just another thing that we need to keep an eye on a month-to-month basis. The active listing prices have still been trending up, but the new median sales prices they were up, and then they started coming down in August and September. Another number we want to look at is the sold-to-list price ratio, and here we can see that there is more negotiation going on out there, because where in last year, homes were selling right around at 100%. That means they were selling for the list price. And then as we got through February, March, April, May, man, they went way above list price. So people were paying well above list price to get a home under contract. Well, then starting in May and June, that started coming down a little bit. Still, they were paying over 102.4% on average. And then we got to July, and they were still paying about 100%, 0.5. And then now you see we're starting to trend down more. So we've gotten under 100%. So there is more negotiation happening, telling us that some homes are selling for less than list price. So that has to do with the prices kind of being steady, but it's also showing you there's more negotiation going on. Okay, let's jump over to Farragut. Farragut. Year over year, home sales are down 11.8%. Inventory of homes is down 3.3%. So definitely we still have less inventory on the market today than there was last year. New listings are just barely up 0.6%. Pending sales are down 12.8%. The median sales price is up 18.4% compared to last year and coming in at 606,500. And the absorption rate has actually ticked up from 1 month, 1.14 months to 1.4 months. So we're seeing a little bit more inventory compared to last month. We've talked about this before. If you've watched any of these videos, you'll see some disparity within the actual median sales price numbers jump around a little bit more in Farragut because it's a much smaller pool of homes that sell, and one big sale for like $1 million plus property, which we have plenty of those in Farragut, can definitely skew these numbers one way or the other. So as far as the median sales price, it's still kind of holding steady, but overall, the year-over-year numbers are starting to tick down and moderate a little bit. Okay, let's take a look at the live data for these numbers here. Let's go and pull up the Farragut numbers here. We're going to go to 37934 through September and just see what's happening with prices here. Okay, so listing prices, you can see, are just kind of jumping around. And once we were saying that a big sale can definitely skew those numbers, but on average, they bounce around pretty good inside of Farragut. But the numbers I did want to show you were the list to sale price ratio. While in Farragut, all the way through February, March, April, May, June, July, we were all above 100% as far as the list to sale price ratio, meaning people were mostly paying list price or better. We can see August and September, those numbers are definitely dropping down. So more negotiation is happening. Okay, Lenoir City. Let's take a look at Lenoir City. Year over year, lots of green on this card. Home sales are up 15.3% compared to a year ago. Inventory of homes is up 7.7%. New listings up 13.2%. Pending sales are up 4.6%. The median sales price is up 4.79% and coming in at $350,000. And there has been a little uptick in inventory compared to last month. Last month was 1.39, and now we're looking at 1.43 months worth of inventory. When we compare that to last month, last month's median sales price was up 3.28% compared to last year. So we're seeing a little bump up. Things are trending upward, but you obviously see a big disparity in the amount of increase in the median sales price. East Tennessee was around 20%. Knoxville was around 19%. Lenoir City is just at 4.79%. So really not that much different than a year ago, but we are seeing prices trending up instead of down, which we are seeing in a lot of other areas. Let's take a look at the live data for Lenoir City through September. We'll load that up. Okay, list prices we can see have been bouncing around. The average median sale price was bouncing up and down, and then started trending up in May, June, July, and then just ticked down a little bit. So it's definitely trending in the right direction there. Let's take a look at the list to sale ratio. Once again, like we were seeing elsewhere, the market was so hot, over the last year up through about June, July, and then things started tapering off, which you can see here, where prices started to be negotiated a little bit more and went from selling on average for above list price to kind of showing up more down in the 96%. So more negotiation happening in Lenoir City as well. Okay, we're going to take a look at the East Tennessee counties here as a whole and just see what has been happening. So on the left side here, this is September 2022 compared to last year, September 2021. Roane County, the available inventory is down 7.8%. Pending sales are down 11%. and the median sales price is up 19.82% in Roane County. Still a healthy jump above last year. Let's take a look and see what is happening in the data for Roane County. So we're going to jump back and take a look at Roane County through September. Let's see what's happening with prices and the list to sold ratio. So as far as prices go, from the sold median sales price, we saw it kind of coming down and then jumping back up and then kind of coming down. And it's landed probably not too far from where it was here the middle of the year, with active prices trending up. That being said, let's look at the sold to list ratio. It started last year at about 98% and then moved down, and then from March, April, May really jumped up where things were selling for above list price, and then since then has been trending down with more negotiation happening. And you can see that the list to sale price ratio, which is the gold bar, that's the final sales price, is right around 97.3%. So a little bit more negotiation happening there. Okay, Knox County is 6.6% below where it was inventory-wise last year. Pending sales are down 11.1%, and the median sales price is up 21.39% compared to last year. That's still a big number. Let's take a look and see what's happening price-wise here in Knox County through September. It looks like when we look at the prices, they're just kind of leveling off. They were moving at a pretty steady pace, kind of up, April, May, June, and then like we've seen and a lot of these others, then it's kind of starting to level off and just kind of bounce up and down. The active median list price is continuing to rise, but the new median list price, meaning new inventory coming on the market, is definitely leveling off. And the reason that you see a difference between these two is there may be some old inventory on here where folks were pricing themselves as things were rising, and they have yet to adjust their pricing, but the new listings coming on the market have already adjusted their pricing accordingly. And the sold to list ratio, once again, we've seen this throughout most of the cards. It was going pretty steady, then jumped up February, March, April, May, June, and then started working its way down with more negotiation happening, with the most negotiation happening last month. So definitely trending in that direction. Anderson County available inventory is down at 12.4%. Pending sales are down 13.4%. And the median sales price is up 17.17% in Anderson County. Let's go over and take a look at the data for Anderson County. Through September. Okay, we can see kind of the same trend. It started working its way up March, April, May, June, and then just leveled off here and is kind of bouncing around the same area. So we aren't seeing any big drops in price, but we are definitely seeing things level off and moderate for sure. When we look at the sold to list ratio in Anderson County, kind of the same story. Level, and then it jumped up that March, April, May, June, and then started working its way down to more negotiation. Okay, Loudon County available inventory is up this is Loudon County is kind of like the anomaly. We saw that with Lenoir City, how it was different, but Loudon County as a whole is very different compared to a lot of the other counties that we're seeing. Available inventory in Loudon County is up 20.6% compared to a year ago. Pending sales are up 9.8% compared to a year ago, and the median sales price is up 11.46%. Obviously lower than these other counties, but the numbers above, the available inventory and pending sales, have jumped quite a bit compared to a year ago. Let's take a look and see what those numbers look like in Loudon County through September. Listing prices have just kind of bounced around, so nothing. The active median list prices kind of just slowly trended up, and then the new median list price has kind of bounced around a little bit, and then the sold median list price has just kind of held fairly steady, and then just kind of bounced up and down. So basically staying fairly level. But again, the sold to list price ratio, while we were seeing everything at about 100% or above, more negotiation happening as this line continues to trend downward, showing more negotiations. Okay, Sevier County, available inventory is up 22.2%. Pending sales are down 6.3%. And the median sales price is up 27.27%. Let's take a look at the active data for Sevier County through September. You can see that the active median list price was rising right through April, May, June, and then just kind of leveled off. You can kind of see the same as far as what has happened with the new median list price. We saw a big drop and then kind of bumped back up. Sevier County is also a county where we're seeing a lot of investors. So you're dealing with some properties that are very expensive that can help these numbers fluctuate up and down pretty drastically sometimes, because you might see properties sell for $1 million plus, and that can definitely skew the numbers. But this number here is telling. Sold to list price ratio was trending up in April, and then since it hit April in Sevier County, it has been definitely trending down with more negotiation happening over the months. And then it kind of leveled off as far as last month. So we'll have to keep an eye on this next month to see if that number continues to trend down, stay flat, or go up in Sevier County. And then the last county, Blount County, available inventory is down 3.2%. Pending sales are down 11.7%. And the median sales price is up 22.81%. In Blount County, let's kind of take a look and see what those numbers are. Here, Blount County through through September. And this just shows things were trending up and then have just started kind of bouncing around the last few months in the same area. And again, sold to list price ratio, same story. Kind of moved up through the March, April, May, and then once we hit June, July, started moving down with more negotiation happening in Blount County as well. Just to look real quick compared to last month, where things were, when we compare Roane County and the slide on the left, which is September, to August, which is on the right, available inventory definitely decreased. Last month, it was down 5.2% compared to a year earlier. This month, it was 7.8%. Pending sales also decreased, and the median sales price also decreased. It went from 20.93 last month in Roane County to 19.82. Looking at Knox County, available inventory had a slight decrease from 6.8% down to 6.6%. Pending sales dropped from 9.5% a year earlier to being 11.1% less. And the median sales price went from 21.43% down to 21.39%. Not a huge drop there. So the median sales price compared to a year earlier is holding steady pretty good. But like we saw on the information earlier, it looks like the month-over-month numbers are holding steady right now. Nothing is really taking drastic dives one way or the other. Anderson County inventory was 9.2% compared to a year earlier last month, and now is down 12.4%. So definitely seeing inventory go in the wrong direction. We need more inventory, but we're seeing less inventory. Pending sales down 13.4% compared to 9.1 last month. And there's a direct correlation, obviously, that you can see here between having less inventory and then also having less pending sales, because when there's less inventory, you have less homes to buy. So therefore, there's more competition. Therefore, there are going to be less homes that go under contract. And then the median sales price in Anderson was 17.17 this month, down from 18.18 last month. Loudon County available inventory, we saw that drop a little bit as well. It was 21.3 last month. It's 20.6 this month. Pending sales also decreased, was 11.4 last month and is 9.8 this month. And the median sales price also decreased, was 11.89% last month, and Loudon County was 11.46 this month. Not drastic decreases, but starting to moderate slowly as far as pricing. Sevier County also saw a little bit of a dip in inventory. It was 23% down, or it was up 23% last month, only up 22.2% this month, means a decrease in inventory. Pending sales were down quite a bit. Last month, they were 2.8%, down 2.8% compared to a year earlier. And then this month, down 6.3%. And the median sales price also dropped. Last month, it was at 32% compared to a year earlier. This month, 27.27%. So prices definitely moderating in Sevier County. And then in Blount County, went from 2.1% down to 3.2% down. So again, another drop in inventory. So other than Loudon County, even in Loudon County, we saw a drop in year-over-year inventory. So we're seeing an inventory drop kind of like across the board here. Pending sales also dropped in Blount County, and the median sales price actually stayed exactly the same. Okay, that's a lot of information. So I think you can kind of tell just from what we've seen as far as the numbers that inventory is still drastically low, and that is affecting pending home sales. And one of the big reasons that we're seeing less inventory come on the market has to do with interest rates. Interest rates have skyrocketed above 7%. And that is affecting the amount of homes that come on the market, because you have a lot of sellers that have locked in a 2-3% interest rates. And it would take a lot of motivation to get out of a 2 or 3% interest rate 30-year loan or 15-year loan to go buy another house and trade it for a 7% interest rate. So there's a lot of sellers that are just deciding to stay in their homes, which is bringing less inventory on the market and hurting an already bad low inventory situation. Okay, here's just some additional data about what's happening in the market. Single-family home prices are approximately 60% higher than they were in 2019, meaning that the typical home is more than $130,000 more expensive than before the pandemic. One of the reasons why Knoxville, you probably are listening to the national news and they're telling you that home prices are tanking, and they might even be telling you that inventory is rising. Well, we know it's not rising here. We just looked at that, and we know that prices aren't taking. They're basically kind of holding steady right now. And the reason for that is a lot of people are leaving those other areas of the country and they're coming to East Tennessee. And we know that because one thing that I have information on says Knoxville ranked as one of the top migration destinations in the United States, according to rent.com. From April through June, inbound migration was more than double outbound migration in the Knoxville, Tennessee metro area. So that means that more than double people are coming in to Knoxville than going out. So that doesn't help the inventory situation either for homes for sale or homes for rent, because you have so many people coming into the area. So we're not going to see big home price drops like other areas because people are coming here and there's just more demand. And we know prices deal with supply and demand. Supply, we just saw that and looked at it. We don't have a lot. Demand, obviously, we have a lot of demand and more demand as people just keep coming into the area. So that just tells us that our prices are not going to fall off the ledge. Another interesting stat said, while Knoxville had traditionally lost a large share of residents to Nashville, that trend appears to have reversed. According to the report, more than 600 new leads were generated by residents looking to relocate to Knoxville from Nashville, compared to under 400 leads going the other direction. Also, after months of robust gains, Knoxville's rental market is beginning to slow down, with nearly every measure of annual rent growth declining from the previous month. But even so, effective rents in the Knoxville area were up 19% year over year in August, outpacing annual rent growth of 10.5% nationally. So the average is 10.5% increase rent growth nationally, while Knoxville beat that and was at 19% through August. Okay, so what do you need to know? Higher home prices and rising mortgage rates are impacting housing affordability in a substantial way. We talked about that. Prices are high, interest rates are high. That affects affordability. A lot of people can't even get into a home anymore because of that. It's pushed a lot of buyers out of the market and created downward pressure on home sales. So we're seeing less home sales, but we're also not seeing prices drop because inventory is so low. Although consumers should expect continued moderation in the housing market, the outlook for home prices remains relatively strong here in Knoxville for the reason that we've talked about. Home buying activity is certainly slowing and homes are staying on the market longer. Much of the growth in inventory is being driven by a slowdown in new listings. Like we said, sellers being reluctant to list their homes because of interest rates and prices. They might not want to sell their house because, the house that they would buy is significantly more expensive, and then you add the interest rate on top of that. There's still a big lack of inventory, and there's no signs that's going to change in the near future. So the market is likely to remain relatively competitive and provide an additional boost to home prices. So not expecting home prices to go down year over year. They're probably still going to keep increasing, but right now they're just kind of moderating and holding steady because we've seen such a big change in interest rates over such a short amount of time. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out to me. My team and I would love to serve you here in the East Tennessee, Knoxville area. And I look forward to talking to you, but please comment below or send me any questions. We'd love to talk about what's happening in the market, and we think it's super important that you know what is happening locally, because if all you're listening to is the national news and what they're saying about the real estate market, it could be completely different, and it is completely different than what is happening here locally in East Tennessee. Have a great day. This is Troy Stavros with Doorbell Real Estate, and we'll talk to you soon.